Thank you for joining us on this Monday night. We're out of our norm tonight, on Wednesday night. Today's the 19th of Adar. It's the yortzeit of our dear member's grandmother, Sarah Bat Hana. Ruach Hashem Tinichet Began Eden. Our shiur B'zat Hashem is not just for Elun Nishmata, but the Atzlacha of her grandson Gabriel Chai Ben Leah and Reuven. שיקים ביתם אביסו במהרה. And also לרפואת שלמת גבריאל משה חיים בן לנה and Daniel ben Rosa Shoshana, and also for Zivul Gagun to Gabriel Chai ben Leah and Yosef ben Rosa and Eliyahu ben Alexander. May Hashem bless all the people that we mentioned with bracha v'atzlacha and everything that they do in all their endeavors. Amen. Our shiur tonight, I prepared for you guys something interesting, I hope, and something very, I think that it's something very connected, something that connects with all of us. The Gemara in Masechet Avodah Zarah, Daf Chaf Bet, Daf Chaf Aleph Amud Bet, I believe, 21b says that you're not allowed to leave an animal alone with a goy. An animal, you can't leave him alone with a goy. Jews have a mitzvah of yichud. Jews. What's yichud? A Jewish man cannot be alone in the same room as a Jewish woman. Of course, even more so, a non-Jewish woman, they might do an avera. In fact, the Torah says, the Gemara says, Masechet Ketubot, that when a person wants to get married, if he just does the kiddush on the wine, he's not married. That's just kiddushin. To get married, what do you have to do? That's kiddushin with the ring. Now, with the ring is kiddushin. You gotta do something called nisu'in. What's nisu'in?
Canopy.
No, canopy is chuppah.
Pronounce.
What's nisu'in? No, pronouncing is kiddushin. That's all kiddushin. That's called kiddush. You know how Bukharians say kiddush. They did the kiddush in the private, you know? Yeah, they're married. No, they're not married. When are they married?
Yehud?
When they do nisu'in. What's nisu'in? Says the Gemara, as Rabbi David said, yichud. What's yichud mean? What is the word yichud? Yichud, no. So the act. Yichud means to be alone in the room together. The Gemara says, yes. The Gemara says, once you're alone in the room together, that's it. Now you're married. You're married. Once you're alone in the room together, and nobody can go inside that room, once she goes into your domain, you're married to her. Why? The Gemara knows for a man and a woman to be in the same room together, it takes a lot. If you got to already be in the room alone with her, that's it. Now you're married. That's the pshat. But derech hasod, how do you say one in Hebrew? The word one. Echad. What is the purpose of marriage? To be one. Vehayu lebasar echad. To be one flesh. So therefore, to be married, you have to be in a situation. You don't have to actually have to do the act, but you have to be in the situation where you could be one flesh. And that action is called yichud. So the Gemara says in Masechet Avodah Zarah that even though yichud is mostly for the Jewish people, but since we are obligated not to make the goyim do an avera, we're obligated not to make the goyim do avera, because the goyim also have 7 averot. There are certain laws of yichud also by goyim. What are they? A Jewish man cannot be alone with a goy in the same room, because the Gemara says in Masechet Avodah Zarah that the goy might kill him. The Gemara says in Masechet Avodah Zarah that one of the Amoraim said, I have a good barber, my good friend, he's a barber, he's a goy. Iraqi. He was Bavli. He was Iraqi. So he said, I'm going to go to his shop. His shop was under a bridge in a dark alleyway. He says, it's okay. He's not going to do anything to me. In the middle of the barber, back then there was no scissors, like sharp scissors and machines. No. Back then they used to do everything with what? With a blade. So in the middle of the shave, the Gemara says, the goy starts to, with the blade, shave off the Amora's head. Not the actual head, the hair. And suddenly in the middle he takes the blade and he puts it by the Amora's throat. And he said, if you weren't my friend, right now you would be dead. Suddenly he had this urge to kill the Jew, the Amora. And the Amora said, from now on, I'm never going to rely on my friend, not my friend. The Chachamim said, don't be b'yichud the goy. I'm not going to be b'yichud the goy. The Gemara then says that a Jewish woman should not be alone in the same room as a goy too. Why? The goy cannot control himself. He will want to do an act of biyah with her. Rav Lugasi, one of the big Balei Musar today, says, back in the day when a person used to go to work, he wouldn't have a lot of tests in his life. What do I mean? A person would go to work. Everybody was who? Men. There would be no test of arayot because there would be no woman over there. It was only with the advancement of the 21st or the 20th century with women's rights that women started to go into the men's industry. Right?
Yep.
Doctors, lawyers, whatever you want. So Rav Lugasi says, you should know one thing. When you're dealing with another human being, the simplest word, one word, could already cause a krivut dat. What's krivut dat? Could already cause you guys to have a similar relationship. For example, he says, many people, where does it happen that they do most of their znut?
In the room.
In the workplace. People that they meet at work. He says, why? When a married man goes to work and he speaks to a woman at work, he has to be very careful. When, let's say he has to do something with that lady, it's their job. He's not allowed to say the word we. You're not allowed to put you and her in the same context. Why? Just saying the word we already causes, says Rav Lugasi, for her to think, for her to create a bond with you. And that already causes you guys to have a certain connection. Then it's easier to do the Avera. Rabbi, you hear? Just saying the word we. He says, he's a big Shalom Bait guy. He says 50% of all the guys who did Averot against their wives started off in the workplace. And of those guys, it didn't happen because they wanted to do it. It just happened because they started to be friendly. How did they get friendly? Oh, how was last night? Oh, you went to a wedding. How was it? Can I see a picture? This, that. And today with the advancement of Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, all the Arba Malachim of the Samech Mem. Samech Mem has 4 Malachim. Those are the 4 Malachim of the Samech Mem. Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. Those are the 4 angels of the Samech Mem. With the advancement of the 4 angels of the angels of the Samech Mem, today to do Averot is just a press of the button, a push of the button. Why? All you need to do is, you could be going up, 49 gates of Kedusha. You're in the 49th gate of Kedusha. All you need is one button, and where did you drop down to? To the 50th gate of Tuma'ah. From the 49th to the 50th. How do we know that? From Am Yisrael. They were in the 49th gate of Kedusha, Ribono Shel Olam. You know what the 49th gate of Kedusha is? They spoke to Hashem. That means a 3-year-old baby, toddler, and the 2-year-old and the breastfeeding child, they all spoke to Hashem. They all reached prophecy. Now, I don't know if you guys believe, of course you believe it, I don't know to what extent, but, you know, it's unbelievable to a person who learns their whole life Torah to get to learn about this whole episode of the Egel HaZahav. It's unbelievable. How did they do it? Not that we're judging, we're not allowed to judge, but how did they do it? It's unbelievable. The baby spoke to Hashem. The baby, he saw Hashem. He didn't see. He saw something. He didn't see Hashem. But how did they do the Egel HaZahav?
I don't know.
How did it? It's unbelievable. In fact, the Gemara in Masechet Avodah Zarah There's a Rashi in Masechet Avodah Zarah that says what? Rashi says over there, whoever thinks that the Jews sin in the Egel HaZahav is wrong. Rashi says they're wrong. It is inconceivable, listen to my words, it's inconceivable that at their level they would have fallen in this kind of sin. It's inconceivable. Why did they fall? It's hard to say these words, but we have to say it. It's a Rashi. If it wasn't a Rashi, I wouldn't say it. Rashi says it was Gezerat HaKatuv. In some ways, Hashem wanted it to happen. Hashem didn't stop it. Like, there was something over there, God wanted it to happen in a way, in a sense. We can't get it. It's a very big play of emunah over here. Like, what do you mean? If Hashem wanted it to happen, let's do all the avarot in the world and say Hashem wanted it to happen. Therefore, we can't use this episode of the Torah to judge the whole Torah. This is one of the instances Rashi calls it Gzerat HaKatuv. Because Rashi, this is the words of Rashi. Hayu moshlim beyitzram. You know what moshlim beyitzram is? Moshlim, they rule their Yetzer Hara. Listen to what I'm saying. They rule their Yetzer Hara. Like David HaMelech. What David HaMelech says? Velibi chalal bekibi. When he sinned with Bathsheba, the Gemara, Masechet Avodah Zarah, Daf Kuv Zayin says like this, that David HaMelech told Hashem, test me. Hashem said, I'm going to test you, but you're going to fail. David HaMelech said, Velibi chalal bekirbi. My neshama, my Yetzer Hara is empty. I don't have a Yetzer Hara. Hashem said, I'm going to make you fall with a bird. You know what a bird? Hashem sent a bird. David HaMelech was on his veranda, his balcony. Yeah. He saw the bird, and like shtut. You know what shtut means? Like nonsense. Like a nonsense happened to him. I'm going to hunt a bird. David HaMelech, you're going hunting in the middle of the night? You're supposed to be learning Torah. On the day of his death, he was learning Torah. He took his bow and arrow, he shot the bird. The Gemara says the Satan, he moved the arrow. It hit somebody else's balcony over there. A woman was taking a shower, and the rest is history. In the middle of the night. She was taking a shower, the curtain fell, and Salami alaikum, and we don't know what happened. But David HaMelech said, it's Hashem in a way. David HaMelech said, Hashem, he's Mashiach Hashem. He's Mashiach of Hashem. He's Hashem. You know I wouldn't have sinned. You know I wouldn't have sinned. I know I wouldn't have sinned. The only reason I sinned is because a person one day, who did all the avarot in the Torah, should say, if David HaMelech sinned and came back to Hashem, so can I. If David HaMelech could fall, if the Jews in the desert fell from the 49th day of Kedusha to the 50th day of Tumah, and they came back, so can I. So can I. That was why the Jews fell. To open up the gate of Teshuvah. They created Teshuvah. Teshuvah starts with the letter Taf. What is Taf? It's the last gate. Sometimes you have to fall all the way to the end to go all the way back to the beginning. You understand? We have to fall sometimes. We don't have to, but if you fell, you should know one thing. Bigger people have fallen, and bigger people have come back to Hashem. That means even if you did all the avarot in the Torah, even if you sinned to the point of no return, you should know one thing. That you didn't sin more than David HaMelech, and you didn't sin more than the Jews in the Egel HaZahav, and they still came back. The Gemara Masechet Avodah Zarah says that you can't put an animal along with a goy. Why can't you put an animal along with a goy? The goy, you're putting a stumbling block in front of the goy. He might be with the animal. He might be with the animal. The Gemara says, how come Jews won't be with animals? Okay, there are no crazy Jews out there. Trust me, there's plenty of them. Go on YouTube. There's plenty of them. How come we don't say you can't put the animal along with the Jew? That Rabbi Yochanan says, Rabbi Yochanan is the Gemara, that at one point, the Jews lost the Yetzer Hara for that specific thing, and they never got it back. When was that? When they stood where? In Har Sinai. The Zohamat Hanachash, that residue, that dirt of the snake, it left them for a moment. That was enough to allow the Jew to be alone in the same room as the animal. If not, the Jews wouldn't be allowed to be alone with the animals too. As the Gemara says. So you're telling me at the moment that we stood in Har Sinai, we lost the residue of the Nachash. Take the word nachash. How much is going to be? Nun is how much? 50. Chet is how much? 8. Shin is how much? 300. 358. Who are we all waiting for? Mashiach. Mem is how much? 40. Yud is how much? 50. 10. I'm sorry. Altogether, 50. Shin, 300. 350. Chet is how much? 8. 358. Nachash, Mashiach, same thing. Shivim panim la Torah. All you gotta do is take the snake and flip his face. What do you get? Mashiach. You flip his face back. What do you get? Nachash. Nachash, Mashiach. You want Mashiach? You have to leave the Nachash. What is the Nachash? Nachash is very simple. Nachash is the opposite of Yichud. The Gemara says 3 things you can't leave alone in the same room as a goy. Why? Because they didn't lose the Nachash. You want Mashiach? You have to let go of those 3 things that you're alone with. The Yetzer Hara is very simple. Gemara says Kiddushin. Yetzer Hara is not going to come to you with a bazooki and with a AK-47 and with a raketa. He doesn't come with you with that. Yetzer Hara is very, very smart. He's been in the business for 330 years. We get the Torah exactly 333 years ago. You hear that, Rabotai? For 3,330 years, we've been keeping the Torah. The Yetzer Hara has been in the business for a long time, and he knows you too. By the way, you're not a new customer. You're an old customer. You just don't remember him. Yetzer Hara knows what makes you fall, and he knows what makes you tick, and he knows what to get you. But the Yetzer Hara always deals with the Jew in the same 3 ways. The Gemara says that Rabbi Akiva in Mased Kiddushin. This is a very, very important yesod. The Gemara says that Rabbi Akiva! You know what the Gemara says about Rabbi Akiva? The Gemara, today, you go to Williamsburg, every other guy with kukul and a top hat and a long coat, what do we call them? Chassid. Back in the day, to be called a Chassid, you had to be part of a very, very, very special VIP exclusive club. Not everybody they would call Chassid. Rabbis like Rabbi Amram Chassida. Who does the Gemara call a Chassid? Rabbi Akiva. So much that the Gemara says one time, sometimes you have a very nice rabbi, and he's such a nice guy, then suddenly once he gets angry, and you're like, Rabbi, why are you getting so angry? What's up with you? Yeah, you're not allowed to say that to the rabbi, by the way, but let's say, why do you say that then? Because you're not used to them getting so tense, Rabbi Akiva was such a sweet guy. The Gemara says, he was such a nice person. For him to not get angry, but to get out of his nicest would be like, Rabbi, what happened to you? Did you wake up from the wrong side of the bed? What's up with you? One time Rabbi Akiva said that the people who were in the desert, the Jews in the desert, have no olam haba. When we're going to wake up in Tchiat HaMetim, we're not going to see them. Sayonara, they're gone. So the Gemara says, Rabbi Akiva, you're a Chassid. What happened to you? Why are you getting upset, Rabbi Akiva? The Gemara says, Shavak Rabbi Akiva Chasidute. Rabbi Akiva left his Chasidut. So we could imagine what kind of Chasid Rabbi Akiva was if they would say such a thing to him. Rabbi Akiva was once walking outside, the Gemara says, and he started to laugh. Why he started to laugh? He said to his students, how could people do Averot? He forgot that he was an Am Haaretz for 40 years. He says, how could people do Averot? Haya mitlotzetz be'ovre Avera, says the Gemara. He was making fun of people doing Averot. Of course, he had a good reason to do that. Why? To teach his students to do Averot is something stupid. It's a shigaon. The Satan went up to Hashem and he says, wait a second. This guy who was an Am Haaretz for 40 years, suddenly he has 24,000 students. Suddenly. And his student is Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes, and Rabbi Yehuda, and Rabbi Yosei, and Rabbi Meir. Suddenly he's making fun? What, he forgot? Can I test him, please? What did the Gemara say? Hashem told the Satan, Jonah, test him! The Satan went down. The Gemara says the Satan made himself look like a woman that the beauty of this woman was not since the time of the wife of Noach, the sister of Lotan. Naama. That's how beautiful he made himself, and she was on top of a tree. What is the one thing a man likes? He likes to be the hero. The Gemara says men like to be heroes. They like to save. So she was screaming from the tree, the Satan. After all that beauty, she's saying, "Save me! I'm on top of the tree." The Gemara says Rabbi Akiva was almost 120 years old.
He jumped on the tree.
He didn't just jump. He climbed that thing like a baboon. He was climbing like no, it was a tall tree. He was climbing. He was going to do the sin with her on top of the tree. The Gemara says. Rabbi Akiva! The Gemara says, in the middle of him climbing, he's suddenly in the middle, Satan changes his back. From Mashiach to what? Nachash. He goes back to Nachash. Satan looks at Rabbi Akiva from the top and says, Jonam, 3 more seconds, you would have lost all the 24,000. Rabbi Shimon everything. If it wasn't that in Shamayim they said, be careful of Rabbi Akiva and his Torah, right now would have made you 0. Don't ever make fun of me again. You can't judge other people's Yetzer Haras. If you got to the level that you got, doesn't mean that you also have you have a vice. And the Gemara says, he made himself look like a woman from the time of Noah. Today we have women like that. All of them need waxing and shaving and this and that and a pound of makeup every time they go and heels and this. Back then they didn't need that. It was just a face. Already angels were coming down from Shamayim and be like, let's make giants over here. Back then. Yeah. Today, they don't have that things. So that means for Rabbi Akiva to fall, he had to make himself look like somebody 5,778 years ago. But the Satan said to him, don't judge people. You're on a different level. Don't laugh at people. Don't laugh at me. Yeah, the Satan has a heart.
Satan was mamash.
The Satan. Yeah, the Gemara says, whatever you do, the Gemara says in Masechet, I believe Ta'anit, don't judge the Satan. Don't fight with him. Because he's going to come after you.
Don't judge people.
No, don't even judge the Satan. Don't put him down. One time the Gemara says, in Masechet, I think Baba Kama, there was a rabbi, he said that the Satan, there is one book in the 24 books of the Torah where the Satan has this whole romance with a guy. What is that? Eov. The whole story of Eov is just the Satan messing with his head. That's the whole story of Eov. The Satan, he's like going after him. The Gemara says that there was one rabbi, he was giving a drasha. I think it was Rabbi Chia Bar Ashi, if I'm not mistaken. Don't hold me to it. And he said, the Satan had kavanah l'shem shamayim. The Gemara said the Satan came down from Shamayim, kissed him on his foot. And he said, thank you for giving me the benefit of the doubt. What do we learn from here? Not only are you not allowed to put people down, you're not allowed to put the Satan down even. The Gemara says, what do you have to say to Hashem? Save me from him. Do me a favor. If you have to put the Satan in a kaf zechut, kal v'chomer ben benoshel kal v'chomer, you have to put yourself in a kaf zechut and any other Jew in a kaf zechut. And I'm going to tell you guys right now one chidush. This is the whole point of this shiur is to get to this chidush. Number 1, don't judge anybody when they do averot. Don't judge yourself when you do averot. And number 3, I'm going to give you one chidush at the end. Maybe you heard it, maybe you didn't. I learned this chidush when I was doing, if you guys remember, I made a Siyum Masechet on Sanhedrin a couple of weeks back. And when I read this Gemara, there are some people who they remember, they have very good memory, and some people who remember by emotion. When I read this Gemara, it got stuck into my head it's like somebody took a knife and just engraved it into my brain. It was such a gorgeous Gemara. It's a known Gemara, but I'm just going to tell it to you. And before that, I got to tell you one more story. The student of Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Meir Bal Hanes. We always say, Elahadamir Aneni, Elahadamir Aneni, Elahad. You lose something, what do you say? Elahadamir Aneni, Elahadamir Aneni. Rabbi Meir Baal Hanes. No one else in the history of the Jews is called Baal Hanes. Baal Hanes. What's Baal Hanes? The master of miracles. That's crazy, master of miracles. Okay. One time he was walking outside, he sees some people do shtuyot. The Gemara says Rabbi Meir Baal Hanes was so controlling his Yetzer Hara, he would go into, I don't want to say the word in the next to Sefer Torah, I'll call it, he would go into the W house. A place where women sell themselves. I call it the W house, or the White House. He would go inside there, and he would able to come out like you saw nothing.
Without-
Like you saw cardboard.
No emotions.
No emotion. There's another rabbi in the Gemara, when he used to dance in a wedding, he used to get so happy, he used to take the bride and put her on his shoulder and dance with her. And all the chachamim are like, "Oi, Rabbi, put her down." He's like, I feel like I have a piece of cardboard on my shoulder. Those were the rabbis back then. So Rabbi Meir Baal Hanes, one time he was walking and he started to make jokes out of people who do Avero. Jokes! If a person makes jokes, you might as well make jokes about them. Satan goes up to Hashem, he says, this Rabbi Meir Baal Hanes, his real name was, by the way, not Meir. His real name was Nehorai. But his klitschka, his nickname was Meir. He said, the Gemara said that the Satan said, can I test this guy? Let's see who he's making fun of. Hashem said, B'chazor, test him. Satan goes down, he makes himself look like a woman from the time of Adam Harishon. Not Noah, Adam Harishon. And he stood on the other side of the lake. Back then, to cross the lake, you would have to wait for a piece of wood, and there was a line. And you would have to hold the line, and you would go with the wood across. Rabbi Meir just saw the woman. Es Ashraf. He started jumping into the water to swim to her. In the middle of the lake, the Satan turns from Nachash, Mashiach. Remember, Nachash, he changes faces. He changes back to Satan. He says, Rabbi Meir, if it wasn't for your Torah and Shamayim, right now I would have made you and all your colleagues down into the river. Don't put people down. Don't put me down. Everybody has his own test in life. You have to learn to give the benefit of the doubt. This is just two examples of the Gemara of how we learn not to give the benefit of the doubt, because we can't judge people's Yetzer Hara. We don't know if we're in this world 10th time, 100th time, 50th time. We don't know how many times we've been in this world. We don't know how many times our souls have been split already, how many Gilgulim we passed. We cannot judge. We know one thing. The Ari HaKadosh says something scary in Shari Gilgulim. We think to come in a Gilgul is a prize. The Ari says in Shari Gilgulim, to come back in a Gilgul is the worst punishment that they could give a Neshama. It's the worst punishment they could give a Neshama. You rather go through Chibut HaKever, Kaf HaKela, and 12 months of Gehenom, if you need 12 months, than to come back in a Gilgul. The Ari HaKadosh says. Shari Gilgulim is Meforash. The Gilgul is the worst. You know what a Gilgul is? I'm going to give you some Kabbalistic thought, maybe Neshama for your grandmother. Teshuvah comes from the first letter Hey of Hashem's name. Teshuvah. Gehenom also comes from the first letter Hey of Hashem's name. Hashem has 4 letters to his name. It's against the 4 satans of Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. There's also 4 levels of Hashem's name. Yud K Vav K, right? Facebook is connected the letter Yud. That's the biggest satan, right? So the first letter Hey of Hashem's name, that's where Hashem sends out the fire of Gehenom to clean the neshama. When Hashem sees that no matter how much Gehenom this guy gets, he's not going to get clean, you know what he does? He has to go above the letter Hey. Where does he go to? The letter Yud. What's the letter Yud? The letter Yud is a circle, right? Circle, in Hebrew we also call it a galgal. What's a galgal? A wheel. How do we call a reincarnation in Hebrew? A gilgul. When the Gehenom doesn't help you, the last thing Hashem does for you, and this is the last point, is a gilgul. That's the letter Yud. You understand what I'm saying, Rabotai? Don't think we're here because Hashem had mercy on us. We're here because we had no other choice. We were so bad. We had to come back and it's Mifurash and Shari Gilgulim.
Some Chachamim wanted Gilgul.
Some Chachamim come back in the Gilgul not to fix themselves, but to fix people. For one example, the Ari HaKadosh didn't come to this world to fix anything. He came to this world just to teach the Torah he missed to Rav Chaim Vital, who was a Gilgul of Rabbi Akiva, and he was a Gilgul of Rabbi Eliezer HaGadol. Okay, that's something else. I don't think anybody here in this room is like those, but maybe there is. I don't know. No judging, right? That's the point of our shiur. There is one person.
You don't know me.
Yeah, one person that we have a very big kublana. What's a kublana? We have a very big taina. Taina means, to blame him. We could blame him. The Zohar says that in Shamayim, after 120 years, we go up to Shamayim, who do we see in the gate of Gan Eden? Avram is the gate of Gehenom. Slicha. Who is in the gate of Gan Eden? Adam Arishon. After all that Gehenom, we see that Adam, you son of a gun. Because of you, we went through all this. Adam Arishon says, no, don't blame me. I did one Avera. I did 130 years of Teshuvah. You did one Avera and did 130 seconds of Teshuvah. So let's not compare over here. Right? There's a Zohar like that. That's why he says in the Zohar, when Sarah Imenu passed away, she had no Averot. Adam Arishon started to speak in Aramaic. Kabut Abishi doesn't understand Aramaic. There's a Zohar like that. So there's one guy, the Torah says, past week's parasha Kitisa, that Moshe Rabbeinu came down from the mountain, and it was very out of character of Moshe to blame people. And he started to blame you. You made the Egel that Aharon made. Aharon. He started to blame Aharon a lot. His older brother. Moshe was 80 when he left Egypt. Aharon was 83. Right? He was his older brother. And the Torah says, the Midrash, that Moshe was fighting with Hashem for 7 days and 7 nights to give Aharon the passage. You know, Aharon was higher than Moshe in a couple of things. And one of the things he was higher than Moshe was in the aspect of Shalom. Aharon didn't like the spotlight. He didn't want to be a leader. He just wanted to make Shalom. Kiruv, Kiruv. Make people Chazer B'Tshuvah. And it was very out of character that Moshe Rabbeinu, and the truth is, Moshe was blaming Aharon for 40 years in the desert. That Aharon did the Egel. And the Gemara says, Masechet Avodah Zarah, Sanhedrin, Daf Yutet Amud Bet, that the sons of Aharon are really the sons of who? Moshe. If Moshe Rabbeinu didn't teach them Torah, all 4 sons would have died. That means there would be no Kohanim. This is your ancestors over here we're talking about.
Yeah. Be careful, please.
And Korach, when he fought with Moshe, he said, how could Aharon, whose whole purpose is to serve in the oil moed, and what's the oil moed? To forgive the sin of Egel HaZahav. Who made the Egel? How is he Kohen Gadol? That was his big taina, as Rabbi Moshe Yaakov Ribakov says in his book, The Sanlar HaKadosh. How could Aharon do what he did? He made something, on Al Panav. You know what Al Panav means? On the face. On the face. We look in the Chumash, Aharon messed up big time. And if you look in the Kabbalah, in the Ari HaKadosh, it seems that he not only messed up, he messed up so big that it's unbelievable. It's seemingly. Because Aharon HaKohen was the Gilgul of a man called Haran. Aharon, Haran, same name. Who's the brother of who? Avraham Avinu. Remember Avraham threw himself in the fire, then his brother went inside and became a crisp? That was Aharon. He was supposed to die in Kiddush Hashem again. Because the previous time he jumped inside was not really full. Remember Avraham had a second brother? What was his name? Nachor. Who was the second guy who died in the Egel HaZahav? The one who said, build it? Chur, Nachor. Same name, just add the letter Nun. Chur didn't even jump into the fire. Chur was a total Oved Avodah Zarah. But when he came back in a Gilgul, as Chur, what did Chur do? I'm gonna die for Hashem. Aharon, which was Haran, says the Ari, was for sure supposed to die in Kiddush Hashem. What did he do instead?
He built the Egel.
Not only he built it, he made a Mizbeach in front of the Egel, and what did he say? Chag LaHashem Machar.
But tomorrow.
Yeah, that's true. You're giving me a pshat right now, but al panav, on the pshat of Chumash, it seems weird what he did. He built a Mizbeach in front of the Egel, and he said Chag LaHashem Machar. That's true. I'm right now going to give you a pshat that's going to blow your mind away totally. Totally going to blow your mind away. I'm going to tell you right now, not only the Aharon not doing Avera, but if it wasn't for what he did, we wouldn't be sitting here eating Chinese food. By the way, everything is Bishul Israel. Understand what I'm saying, Rabotai? If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be sitting over here. This is your ancestors, Aharon HaKohen. The Gemara says in Masechet Sanhedrin, if it wasn't for Aharon, there wouldn't be a Jew alive today. How do we know this? The Ari says he created Yom Kippur. No, I don't think so.
I mean, whatever, he was the process.
The Ari says about 1,000 years after Aharon, there was a guy called Zechariah. He was a Kohen
Navi.
and a Navi. Kohen and a Navi. One day he got up on Yom Kippur, and he got up in the middle of the whole. When did all the Jews come to Yerushalayim? Shlosha Regalim, and also Yom Kippur. They used to come a lot. They went up on Yom Kippur, and he started to give them kakoi. How do you say rebuke in Russian? Zamichanya. Rebuke. Tochecha. The Jews back then were not such good people. One of them gets up, stabs the Kohen Gadol, which is a Navi, on Yom Kippur, in the middle of the Beit HaMikdash, to death. And all the Jews get up and start basically stepping on him to death. The Gemara says in Masechet Gitin that the blood of Zechariah boiled for another, 200 years, till Nebuzaradan came. Nebuzaradan, the executioner of Nebuchadnezzar, and killed 80,000 Jews on top of that blood, just to quiet down the blood. Could you imagine? In the middle of the Beit HaMikdash, blood was boiling. If it wasn't that Nebuzaradan was meant to be a ger, he would have killed every single Jew on top of Zechariah's blood. The Ari says Zechariah was the Gilgul of Aharon HaKohen. Because he didn't die on Kiddush Hashem, he was supposed to die right now on Yom Kippur on Kiddush Hashem, by giving Jews tochecha. But since he still caused the Jews to die, the Ari says, in the Ramaz, the Moshe Zachuta says in the name of the Ari, that Zechariah came back again. Basically, Aharon HaKohen, Bechoreh, he came back 20 times. Till he came back in one of the most famous Kohanim. The Kohen who started to rebuild the Beit HaMikdash. And what was his name? Ezra HaSofer. Ezra HaSofer took the Jews back to Eretz Israel and started rebuilding the Beit HaMikdash. And the Gemara says in Masechet Sanhedrin that Aharon HaKohen knew during the Egel HaZahav. He was standing over here and Hur was standing over here. Aharon was a Kohen and Hur was what?
Navi.
A Navi. That if the Jews will kill two of them on the same day, there will be no Jews left here today.
Destroyed.
Aharon wanted to die in Kiddush Hashem. Aharon was more than willing to die in Kiddush Hashem. But he knew that Hur beat him to the punch. Hur died on Kiddush Hashem first. If they would have came to Aharon, Aharon would have killed himself first. But since Hur killed himself first on Kiddush Hashem, not himself, they killed him. Aharon knew that if he would also die in Kiddush Hashem, even though this is his tikkun, he let go of his tikkun, even though it was his tikkun. But if he would have also given himself,
It would have been a waste.
not only wouldn't have been a waste, he would have fixed himself, but he would have caused all the Jews to go down to the gutter. Because a Kohen and a Navi, when they're two separate people, cannot die on the same day. If they die on the same day, there is no Tkuma for Am Yisrael. The Gemara says, whoever says Aharon HaKohen sinned is himself sinning. He never sinned. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be here today. May Hashem be mizakeh with us, to always do kav zechut for Am Yisrael, mizakeh the dead, to be uplifting Am Yisrael, kol hazman, Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen, amen.